There are multiple ways to price the instances and to use instance depending on your use case. So let me explain them by an example so that you can relate it. Now, I would divide this into four categories: on-demand instances, reserved instances, savings plan, and spot instances. These are the categories of purchase. If I'm looking to buy a EC2 instance or get a EC2 instance, these are the options which I have. One is related to on-demand, reserved, savings plan, and spot instances. Let me explain them one by one. And I have listed them in their highest price to the lowest price. Highest I would pay in on demand, lowest I would pay into spot instances. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, I would give some examples here again to explain you things in easier fashion. Taxi. Let's say you come to London Heathrow. From there, you have to go home. One option for you is that you can take a public transport, or if you have a lot of stuff and luggage and you want to go to a specific place, probably you are looking for on-demand taxi. You would book a Uber or you would hail a taxi and get into it and go to your point. That's all. In that taxi, you are paying from point A to point B. You do not worry about taxi insurance. You do not worry about salary of the driver, or you do not worry about the maintenance record of the service, maintenance record of the car. We expect when a service is being rendered, they are already fit. They have taxation done. Their driver is trained and all the stuff. So that's what I'm doing. Highest price I'm paying, but that is good because I have a use case only for going from point A to point B. I do not want to use it further. So that's what money I would be paying. So Uber taxis and any other taxi you use is on demand. On demand in EC2 is called a on demand pricing tier. In that, what you do, you pay by second. So if you start a machine, like I have started a EC2 machine, and if I run it for 45 minutes, I would be paying only for 45 minutes. If I run it for 60 minutes, I would be paying only for 60 minutes. Once my work is done, I would be removing it. That should not be a problem at all. Right. So that is called my on-demand pricing, where I pay by second for Amazon Linux and Ubuntu and Windows instances. And if there are other operating systems, sorry, give me a minute. If there are other operating systems, in that case, what I have to do, one moment, please. In case of other operating system, I pay by the hour. What I mean by the hour. So in that case, I would be paying, let's say if I use that instance for 60 minutes, I would still be paying for 1 hour. And if I use that instance for 61 minutes, I would be paying for 2 hours in that case. So let me start this again. Sorry for that. So I was explaining on demand, like booking a taxi. So in taxi, you do not worry about nitty-gritty stuff. You need a service, we give it to you. You pay for what you use, that's all. Afterward, whether the taxi require that much of maintenance or how much petrol prices are, you do not worry at all on that. So on demand instance type is good when you have a very specific use case and keep your application running for a amount of time or for undefined time period. That time I would prefer to go with demand instances. So in this case of on demand, what I would be doing, I would be paying by second, and if it is a other operating system, I would be paying by the hours in that case. So if my workload is unpredictable, I do not know how long I'm going to keep this service running. I'm just doing a PO, doing a testing. I have no long-term plan to keep the service running. That time I would be going for on-demand instances, right? On-demand is good for unpredictable workload. Let me talk about reserved instances. Let's say you decided that you are going to come to London and stay there for 2 years. Now, what you would do in that case? You won't be hailing taxi every day or calling Uber every day. It will not be very economical, first thing, and it may not be available when you actually need it. So what you can think, hey, let me think about leasing a car. It's a very common, Middle East, very common to lease a car. People come there for a project work for 1 or 2 years or maybe 6 months. You can go and lease a car there. When you lease a car, the car is with you whether you use it or not. Right. So that is what a reserved instance is. You go to Amazon and say, hey, Amazon, I am going to use your instance for a commitment of 1 or 3 years. I want to ensure I am going to use your instance for 1 or 3 years, and please give me better price. Like when you book a hotel for 5 days or you book a hotel for 5 months, obviously you can negotiate a better price, or hotel would have a different pricing for long-term rental. Exact same thing happens here, that when I am reserving an instance, that time I am making a commitment for 1 or 3 year, and Amazon would be giving me a better discount in that case. Now, when I should reserve it, I would reserve it when I have a use case for long running and a predictable performance. If I know I am going to use a C5 dot extra large for next 1 year or next 2 year, then it makes sense to reserve an instance. So when you are leasing a car, you have to tell what type of car you are looking for and how long you want to rent it so that we can give you better pricing. So that's what reserved instances. So this one is where you say what type of instance you need, what operating system you need, which region you want to reserve it, and what availability zone you want to reserve it. So this is called a reserved instance. Now, here is a commitment. Whether you use it or not, you are still paying the money. You rented a house, you stay it or not, or maybe that is whether you are using that house regularly or not, you still pay money on that. That exact same thing happen with reserved instances. Now, people think that when somebody reserves an instance, Amazon blocks a physical server for them. Answer is no. Think of reserved instance, when actual utilization happens, you get some discount. What I mean by that, when we do shopping online, we may have a coupon, let's say 10% discount coupon. So you put whatever stuff you want into your shopping cart, and when you are checking out, you apply that coupon, and that entitles you for 10% discount, right? That exact reserved instances. So in reserved instance, you would be getting a discount added at the billing cycle. It's not like we put a physical server, added your name, and you would use only that server. It is a capacity reservation. It is not a physical reservation, right? So make sure you understand it, that it is a capacity reservation and it is a billing discount, but it is not a physical reservation which is being done for you. So that is called reserved instances, and it is good if I have a 1 year or 3 year commitment to make. Now, if you made that commitment, let me explain that. So what you did, you made the commitment. You said, I am going to use a C5 dot extra large instance, and I am making a 3 year commitment. This one will be used into Ireland, and I would be using a Linux based operating system there. So this technical commitment you made. What if your requirement changes later? What if your company decide that, hey, we do not want to use Ireland anymore for region, we will shift everything into London, but your reservation is into Ireland. So this money you still have to pay because it's a commitment. You are committing to pay that money whether you use capacity or not. Why? Because based on the commitment you had said. So if you said Amazon, we are going to use 1,000 instances of this capacity. So Amazon will make investment on your behalf to ensure that we always make that much of capacity available to you. We keep this much service and servers available for you. So there is an investment being made on your behalf on Amazon, and that's why you have to get committed there. That is reserved instance. But as you can see, I have to be very thorough in my choice. What if my requirement change later? So we realized that, and then we came up with a reserved instance plan, sorry, savings plan. I call reserved instance 2.0, RI 2.0. It's not official term. I just use it to explain that whatever challenges customer faced here in reserved instance, we tried to solve that by launching a feature called savings plan. This is a relatively new feature. Let me explain a savings plan. Again, let's take a car example. Let's say you you lease a car, and your lease provider is flexible. Lease provider says, hey, when you need a car, you make a commitment. Let's say you will pay me $300 per month. Just give an example. And in that $300 per month, you may take either a car, or you may take a bike. When the weather is good and you want to go for a bike ride, go for that. You are doing a house shifting and you need a bigger vehicle, or you're getting a lot of luggage or buying something from IKEA, you want to get something else, you can lease a bigger van from us. So this commitment you are making and paying to us every time. If you use the van and that month your bill came to 400, you pay extra 100 to me, but this is a commitment price you are paying to me. So here we have flexibility. Flexibility in terms of which vehicle to use. Same thing applies on saving instances, that what happens here in savings plan, we give you a commitment of fixed payment. You say to us, Amazon, I am going to pay you $10 per hour for compute. And in savings plan, we have option. You can say, hey, will you use this $10 per hour for EC2? If yes, you can book that. Or if you feel, no, my request can be for EC2, or I may want to use Lambda for that $10, or I may want to use container for that $10, we don't mind. So that is giving you flexibility that you may change your mind and you may say, I would use Linux today. Tomorrow, I would be using a different operating system. I may be using a different region, so that you can configure into savings plan. So it is giving you more flexibility, and your commitment is based on the type of the reservation, not on the technical commitment. You are paying for a fixed type of payment. So this is a payment reservation, and flexible in terms of reservation. You may decide to change it. That should not be a problem. So that is called my savings plan, which I call reserved instance 2.0. All right. So hopefully everyone is clear.